Kurt Helin, NBC Sports Radio, covers the NBA, the 24/7 live sports talk network. You can listen at NBCSportsRadio.com. Download the NBC Sports mobile app today. Kurt, a kind of grim day today in Philadelphia. They lose last night. A series that many at the beginning thought they would win, and now, you got all this polarizing discussion of the 76ers moving forward. But in the end, was it a disappointment that they lost this series? When you look at this series, was this the series the Sixers should have won?
I don't get how this is polarizing, to be honest with you. Look, this was a 28-team win team a year ago that won 50-plus games, made the second round. I get it. I get Boston is without their two stars, and you're like, oh, man, how do we not beat these guys? But honestly, that's still a good team, and I think that the lesson to take away from this is, A, your weaknesses get exposed in the playoffs. Whether it was Embiid's conditioning, he can't finish that last shot on Baines, Ben Simmons shooting, and we could go on down the line through the rest of the role play. Your weaknesses get exposed, and Boston was better at, A, being a little bit deeper, and B, hiding their weaknesses. And that's just, hey, that's how you learn to play, man. That's just – Michael Jordan got his head kicked in for years by the bad boy Pistons. And, LeBron, Kobe, name the star going back in time. They have to learn how to win in the playoffs. I think that that's what this experience was. But that said, it was such a huge step forward. To me, this team is still, if anything, ahead of the curve it was expected to be on. So to me, it's nothing but positives for this team going forward.
If there was some concerning things to come out of this, what would you say? All right, maybe they won 52, they won a playoff series, but moving forward, X, Y, and Z. Was there some things that you would say that were concerning about moving forward?
Well, like I said, I think your young individual players have got to take their next step forwards with their both their physical, taking care of their body, in Embiid's case, maybe picking his conditioning up, and then, improving aspects of their game. And then, hey, I think the thing you learned, and you're going to have to find a way to add to keep over the summer is the shooting. You needed Redick, you needed Ilyasova and Bellinelli. Obviously, Ilyasova and Bellinelli, and even Redick, to agree, he's not young, aren't the long-term answers here. So where do you go find more shooting?
Right.
How do you get them more involved in the play? And then you add depth to this roster too, and that some of that's there. You've got to build. You got Markelle Fultz. You got all these. You've got all these draft picks, so you've got an opportunity to make all that really work.
Kurt Helin is with us, NBA writer for NBC. He joins us here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. All right, so you got Embiid, you got Ben Simmons, and then moving forward, this offseason, do you think Brian Colangelo, though, is really the big key, the decisions he makes this offseason? Some have suggested that this might be the most important offseason that this team has ever faced.
He is the key, because now you're in the team building part. I mean, the hard part, one of the hard parts of putting together a superstar, elite championship team is getting the superstar players. There's only a handful of the Embiid, Simmons, level players in the league, and just having them is step one. Then putting that team around them is the next part, and that's where they're at now. They've started to figure out, like I said, about needing the shooting. So, all right, where can we get more shooting? How can we incorporate Fultz? How can we use, other draft picks we have coming up? Or use some of that stuff, some of those players as assets to go get what we need. But yeah, I think right now, especially over the next couple months, it really does fall more on the GM than anything else to start putting the pieces together, because the other part we all know is Boston's about to get better.
Yeah.
Boston still gets those stars back, but I think that this is a situation where they get their stars back. They are certainly better with them in there, but I think the growth potential for the Sixers with their young players improving and the guys they're bringing in is much higher. Like their ceiling, they haven't come anywhere close to their ceiling.
Yeah, that was going to be kind of my follow-up, Kurt, is they lose to this version of the Celtics. So some people say, all right, you lost to this version. What are you going to do? So how far are they separated from a better version of Boston?
Boy, that's tough to say, just because, again, it's what kind of leaps can they make, and it's just hard to predict what this offseason is going to look like. And
yeah,
we haven't even gotten to the elephant in the room of that LeBron James guy is going to make some sort of decision that will, whatever that decision is,
right,
changes the complexion of the East. He can stay in Cleveland, go whatever he chooses, it changes the dynamic dramatically. So, but I don't think that they're that far off. Like I said, I think when you think about them, the team on a bell curve type of thing with their ultimate, chasing of a title at their peaks, Boston's just farther along that curve right now. But the Sixers are coming fast and hard. They made huge leaps this season. They were much, they made these gigantic steps forward, and it's frustrating. You adjust, like I think Embiid said this, you start to adjust your expectations, but at the end of the day, it's still a learning curve, and you're still on it.
Kurt Helin, it's a learning curve for everybody, including the coach. A lot of people critical of the coach. Is he the right coach moving forward? If you're Brian Colangelo, are you thinking about the coaching situation today and this offseason?
Back to the things I don't get. I don't know how you decide. I would think that. I don't know how you would come to a decision in your head that the coach is the problem unless you think this team should have won a title this year, in which case you really shouldn't be. You need to put the bong down and take a step back, to be honest with you, because this team was not ready to win. Brett Brown built a culture over these losing years of a team that does play defense, that does play smart, that does all this stuff. He got these guys to buy in. This team made huge leaps this year, and now you want to get – you have to give him a chance to see this through to the top. Is it possible someday down the line you decide, hey, he's the Mark Jackson and we've got a Steve Kerr out there? Maybe. You're not near that spot yet. You're not anywhere near that spot. I think you're going to find anyone better for bringing this team along. It would radically change the culture, and that's not what you want to do right now if you changed out the coach.
Kurt Helin, a couple quick thoughts on the Eastern Conference. Can the Boston Celtics, the sum of the parts, take down LeBron?
Possibly. I think this is a lot tougher for Cleveland than the last round. Toronto's a terrible matchup. Toronto isn't a terrible matchup for Cleveland. Cleveland's a terrible matchup for Toronto. Some of the actions that they ran, look, LeBron's going to be LeBron and he's going to get his. And to be frank, I thought OG Anunoby did, especially for a rookie, did about as good as you could hope for him to matched up on LeBron. But if you're going to do that, then you've got to keep everybody else quiet. And Kevin Love just torched Valanciunas for 3 games. That little corner action he ran with Korver, they didn't have an answer for it. Boston has an answer for that. You've got Al Horford, as you guys well know, is a really smart, clever defender. That Boston team is very in tune defensively. I don't think that some of the looks that Cleveland got are going to be in the Indiana series where they struggled and it required a lot more LeBron James to pull this team through, because I still don't believe in the roster around him all that much.
Do we get an epic Western Conference, or will be a flat 4-5 gamer with Golden State moving on?
No, I think this is pretty Thanos Avengers. I think this is going to be pretty long. I think it's 6 or 7 games, really intense. I'm still picking Golden State because I've seen them adapt. I've seen them adjust. I've seen them do whatever it is needed to find a way to get a win in a series. I don't know they can do that. Maybe they can. Maybe they surprise me. I'm still going to take the Warriors in 6 because at the end of the day, there's so many matchup problems that they create, and their versatility makes it even worse.
We've got the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference Finals right here on 97.3 ESPN. We also are happy to have Kurt Helin, NBC Sports Radio, the 24/7 live sports talk network. You can listen at NBCSportsRadio.com. Kurt, always a pleasure, man. We'll talk soon.
Take care.